factorize px, where it's x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. So we're going to assume that all of these, or that there are at least one linear root. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our remainder theorem and factor theorem to find one of the roots, and we're going to do it by guess and check. But it's going to be a smart guess and check, because what we're going to have is we're going to have x plus or minus something, let's call it a, multiplied by x squared plus something x plus some constant value. And we can see that a times something will be a factor of 6, because a times my constant value must give me 6. So if I look at 6, 6 can be 1 times 6, or it can be 2 times 3. So the factors that I'm going to check by guess and check is plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 6, plus minus 3. Now, we're going to hope that at least one of them are. If it's not, we'll be able to find the roots, or the zeros, by using graphics calculator. But if this is a non-calculator exam, then I'm just going to assume that this is going to be one of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and use the easiest one first. So I'm going to substitute p at 1 and see what I get. It's 1 cubed minus 2 times 1 squared minus 5 times 1 plus 6. That gives us 1 minus 2 minus 5 plus 6. Oh, and that gives us 0. So the first one I checked was 0. If the remainder is 0, it means that 1, if I substitute 1 in there, there's no remainder, so it's a factor. And if 1 substitutes there, it means that x minus 1 is a factor. Okay, now I'm going to show you two ways. The book only gives us one example, or the one method to finding it, and that is by another sort of guess and check. So what I can say is I can say that x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals x minus 1 multiplied by, I don't know, ax squared plus bx plus c. And I need to go and find what is that a, b, and c. Okay, the first thing that I can find is I can find a, because the only cube function that I'm going to get 1 is if I multiply, and I'm going to change my pen color quickly to the same color, it's going to be when I multiply a times x. Okay, so I can say that a must equal 1, because a times x is ax squared, or ax cubed, and there's ax cubed. The other one that I can get immediately is I can see that, let's take another color, let's take the last one, so plus 6, we can find plus 6 by looking at c, because the only way I can get to 6 is if I multiply, just change my pen colors again, my only one is if I multiply minus 1 with positive 6, or with positive c, I'm going to get 6. And minus 1 times negative 6 will give me positive 6. So c, I can see that c needs to be negative 6. Because negative 1 times negative 6 will give him positive 6. To find the others, I'm going to use a different method, not a different method, but there's an extra step, and this is what I have to remember. When I'm working with this, and I look at, for example, you can look at any one of the x squared or the x, because it's my middle term. When I look at this value, that value will give me, if I multiply that, I'm going to get a bx squared. And if I multiply that, I'm going to get x squared. Okay, so to find that value of mine, I'm going to say that minus 2 is going to be minus 1a plus b. Okay, so I'm going to say that my b value my b value, the b value over here, sorry, undo. I'm going to say minus 2, the minus 2 that I get from minus 2 is going to be minus 1 times a, plus the one that I get here, x plus b, plus x plus b, or 1 plus b, which is 1b. I already have a value for a. A is 1, so this is going to be minus 2 equals minus 1 plus b. Then b equals, take 1 to the other side, becomes plus 1, so b is going to be negative 1. And I've got c, so b equals negative 1. So I can see that x minus 1, this all equals x minus 1, and then ax is 1, so it's x squared. B is negative 1, so it's negative x, and c is negative 6. So that's the factors. That is what x is. But now I have to find the linear answer of this. So it means x minus 1. And if I do this, this is x, this is x, this is 3, this is 2, this is minus, this is plus. Let's just check. X times x is x squared. Minus 3x plus 2x is minus x. Minus 3 plus 2 is 6. And they are the factorization of px. Px equals that. Now, I myself not too crazy about this because I can do long division. What I'm going to do is, if I find a factor of x minus 1 is a factor, all I'm going to do is I'm going to divide x minus 1 into this. I'm going to say this is x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6, and I'm going to divide x minus 1 in there. Okay, if I do that, x goes in x cubed, x squared time. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times minus 1 is minus x squared. I subtract, so this becomes a minus, that becomes a plus. I subtract, that is 0. Negative 2x plus x is negative x squared. X goes into, and the negative 5x comes down. X goes to negative x squared, negative x times. Negative x times x is negative x squared. Negative x times negative 1 is plus x. I'm going to subtract. The moment I subtract, that becomes a plus, that becomes a minus. Negative x squared plus x squared is nothing. Minus 5x minus 1 is minus 6x plus 6. X divide into minus 6x, negative 6 times. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times negative 1 is plus 6. If I subtract, my answer is 0. It should be, because x minus 1 is a factor, and the remainder is x, not the remainder, the other factor is x squared minus x minus 6. So that will be x minus 1, x squared minus x minus 6, and I can find, saying that is x minus 1, x minus 3, x plus 2. And those then are the factors.